how do insurance carriers look at their home, at your home?
Right.
Okay, it's much like when I was in lending. How did the lender look at your home?
Right.
Because they're not going to invest if it's, not up to snuff.
Okay.
So we always had a thing that a home had to be safe, sound, and sanitary. Because even though you pay for an appraisal, they look at the appraisal as well, and they determine whether that value is there or not. The same with insurance carriers.
Okay.
They want the house to be safe, sound, and sanitary. They want to make, I think it's law in the state of Florida, you have to have a heater. The heat has to work.
Okay.
They want the air conditioner to work. And it's usually central heat and air down here.
Okay.
It might be different somewhere else. You might have 2 different units somewhere else. But generally that's it here in Florida. And I always say you want to put your best foot forward, because underwriters aren't in construction. They look at it, and they will look at it with a fine-tooth comb, because they want to make sure that whatever they're going to approve, because even though I have the I have the ability to bind the policy on my own, it's still going to go through underwriting. They're still going to check my work. They're still going to check the inspector's work to make sure it's something that they want to invest in, because they have X amount of time to cancel. Okay. There's state of Florida, like I said, it's regulated. Either they have 20 days for this, 45 days for this. If they don't like the age of their roof, they give you 120 days for a non-renewal. That's law. And it's in the policy docs as well.
But nobody reads the policy.
Nobody reads the policy. I was like, I'm such a dork.
I don't think I read my policy docs until I have a claim. Then I'm like, oh, that would have been great.
But if you have even a dirty roof, they're going to question. Antennas go up.
Got it.
It's Florida, South Florida. You're going to have a little green maybe on the side of your house.
Right.
What's that? Remove that. You have settling cracks, right? Sometimes in the bricks or whatever.
Right.
And it's not structural, but there might be water intrusion.
Got it.
So they want you to go and fill it in.
Got it. Patch
There's some paint on it, patch it and paint it.
Okay.
I'm not talking about big things. I'm talking about little cracks.
Yeah. Okay.
I was surprised. I was like, really? Yeah.
Interesting.
A lot of things people don't realize is on the tile roofs. They've never seen the tile roof since they bought it.
Right.
They don't know if it got hit by hail. They don't know if something bounced on it, or if they were having a pressure clean and somebody stepped on it and broke your tile. But they use drones now.
Right.
There's other states that use satellite imagery to see if there's hail damage on the roofs.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah. And now it's not always a cause to do away with you, but say you do have some cracked tiles, they want it fixed because it's all about water intrusion.
Got it.
The water gets under, it gets into the wood, and somebody goes to inspect and they can see in the attic that there's water spots everywhere. What happens with water spots on the wood? The wood's going to get soft, right?
Yep.
And over time, if it's a consistent water thing, it's going to eventually rot, right? Especially houses with valleys. You'll have if you have water intrusion underneath the things and it falls the same way, because what do they say about water? It always
travels downstream.
It travels least resistance.
Right.
And generally it's your valleys. And it goes through and it goes through and it goes through. So you want to make sure that, before the insurance carrier comes out to inspect, have an inspector come and look at your home. With a lot of inspectors nowadays have drones. Call one, make sure they have a drone. Could you check my roof for any cracks or anything of this, that, or the other?
Okay.
And, just put your best foot forward. Look at the things behind the washer and dryer. Are they green? Your hot water heater, is it rusted, about to fall down?
Okay.
Take a really good look. Get an inspection. Find out what you need to improve, because that underwriter is going to be more comfortable with a better looking, safe, sound, and sanitary home.
Got it.
Because otherwise they can say, there's something wrong with this. I know there is.
Interesting.
And maybe they'll have me jump through more hoops. They have me jump through more hoops. Guess who's going through more hoops? You're going through more hoops.
Got it.
And the hardest thing with the clients is trying to explain to them, why they want that. If they just want to listen to what I have to say, they can have all the questions they want. I'll answer all the questions that they want. But if they say, this is what you need to do, there's generally no negotiation.
Got it.
A bush.
It's something that you have to do.
Yeah, right. Something like there's a bush touching the wall and it's, 10 days before your cancellation. Can I get on the phone with the underwriter and get that waived? Generally, yeah. They'll just, maybe instead of a cancellation, they put a non-renewal on it. And they just say, okay, fix that before the non-renewal. Rare.
Interesting.
Extremely rare.
Okay.
But, when it comes to roof fixing the roof, they're going to cancel it as fast as they can if they don't trust it.
Yeah. We actually have 2 clients, or actually, no, probably more than that. Two that I'm very familiar with. They messaged me directly that we've been working with for years. that literally every single year, like clockwork, hey, Darryl, I need you to come look at my roof. I need you to replace tiles. We have to get an inspection per the insurance company. And we basically go out there and replace any damaged tiles. And this is like I think it's every year, every 2 years. I'm not sure which one it is. But it's like clockwork. And every single year they replace additional tiles. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if that's something you've
It's
seen.
not something that I've heard of, but there's a carrier that came back into Miami.
Okay.
Literally like a year or two ago. They weren't doing houses older than 10 years old. This is what I was talking about. I actually put a relative with them, and they did the re-inspection after the inspection. You know, after we closed the deal, it wasn't a closing, but it was a re-quote. And just recently, I know it's been maybe 2 years. They wanted to inspect it again. They had her take pictures. Yep.
So they take pictures, they find broken tiles, and they basically tell them, replace these tiles or we're dropping you. Or the roof has to be recertified every couple years. And that's something that we
it depends on when the permit was pulled. So if it's coming towards its end of life, say shingles, yes. Some of them, you asked me about a 15-year roof. I had some carriers when they were pulling back in the state of Florida, 10 years. Yeah.
And that's something I definitely want to get into.
And there's no like 3 years remaining or 5 years remaining. It was a dead stop. Why? Because they didn't want to insure in Miami. They just didn't. But there are other insurance companies that do.
Got it.
There are some companies that say, okay, yes, we have 15 or 20 years. It's more like 20 years now on shingle roofs.
Got it.
And you could do it with 5 years remaining.
Okay.
But once you get past that 5 years, or under the 5 years, so like maybe a year later, because they keep recertifying it, to give it the 5 years of life, that could come into play where you have to keep getting those inspections. That's probably where that came from.
Very interesting. As technology advances, products get better, except for appliances. For whatever reason, appliances used to last 50
now
years.
Now
it's like 5 years, and it's the cost to replace it is the cost to replace a motherboard. But as far as roofs go, shingles have come a long way. So there's a manufacturer, GAF, we're certified GAF installer. They have what's called a wind-proven warranty, where basically if you install one of their roofs with their standard products, you use their products, you install their roof, we get that roof certified, that roof has a wind-proven warranty, and these roofs are basically guaranteed to last up to 50 years. But a giant but is insurance.
Yeah.
Because right now, based off what you've seen, our shingle roofs for looking through the eyes of the insurance companies, will they last 50 years?
Right. One of the biggest things about shingle roofs is that I think when they were first developed, or it's been forever, but is what the sun has done to them. And most of my problems right now with shingle roofs is granular loss.
Right.
That ridging, pulling up at the ridging. And that sets underwriters off.
Right.
Like what is that? But like I said, it takes like an act of God to change rates or, policy things. The same with the inspections, until how do I say this? Like I went to a meeting and it was about solar systems being put up on your roof. And the reports and stuff like that haven't kept up. Like there's no option for how the roofs are attached to the solar panels.
Right.
So it's a big unknown as far as the carriers are, because nobody's discussed it. I'm like, well, you got to lobby for it or something.
Right.
For the state of Florida. And I think I'd never heard of that. But of course, hopefully technology does grow. What is the warranty against sun damage or loss? How does it not become brittle?
Right.
I mean, other roofs can suffer too, whether they're tile or metal.
Of course. But I mean, like, so what I'm interested in is, whereas some of these manufacturers will say, hey, our shingle roofs will last 30, 40, 50 years. We're potentially, and other roofers are basically, who are not forthcoming, are basically saying, hey, this roof's going to last you 50 years. But the insurance companies agree with that. Are the insurance companies going to say, oh yeah, he put on a new GAF roof, he put on a new GAF or name another manufacturer, are the insurance companies going to honor that same thing? And I don't think the answer is yes. And
as of right now, no.
Yeah, so
Is it 3-tab? Is it architectural shingle?
So architectural shingles, yeah. So
that's all they're asking. They're not asking
right.
for a warrant. They're going by off what the average life has been throughout history.
Exactly.
Right now.
And what's that average life, or where do you start to get some of those letters from in different insurance companies?
20.
Okay, 20 years.
20 years. I mean, that's average.
Okay.
I mean, Citizens, you might get some more.
Right.
And Citizens is very good about saying 5 years, but they don't want to be in the insurance business.
Got it.
They don't want to be in the insurance business.
Wow.
And the other problem with shingle roofs is a lot of them are attached to flat roofs.
Interesting.
Okay. So if you have a flat roof, that even makes it more difficult because it's rolled.
Got it.
And nobody seems to want to maintain their rolled roofs.
Right.
Or if they get the shingles done, they don't do the rolled.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with it.
We
right?
see that.
No, they will look at this with a fine-tooth comb because they have the greatest propensity to fail and not make it through a hurricane.
Right, exactly. Well, and a lot of those advances, the secondary water barrier that we're installing, the peel and stick system, having these better systems now that have that wind-proven warranty where GAF will warranty the roof.
Right.
And they are also backed by insurance as well. Yeah, I'm interested to see what that looks like in 20 years, like the roofs that we're installing today, last year, 5 years ago. In 15, 20 years, our insurance company going to treat those roofs differently with the secondary water barrier, with all these extra components, with the warranty from the manufacturer? Are they going to treat them differently? And I'm not sure.
Right.
So,
well, just my opinion, and this is just my opinion, there's nothing that's been put out there that says anything to it. It's going to be time.
Right.
Like you just said, I wonder what it's going to be like in 20 years. Because if losses go down on roofs, you're going to see better pricing.
Right.
Period. Because they're going to pass it on to the consumer.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Maybe, there have been new discounts that have come out throughout carriers. A lot of them didn't have any discounts when I first started. I actually saw a military discount this time. I was like, what? I was like, ooh, that's cool.
Right.
Then like water detection devices.
Okay.
That gets a discount.
Interesting.
So maybe that, would be kind of cool if they had like a rating for the shingle.
Right.
And that you get a discount, no matter how big or small it is.
Right.
To offset some of that. But time will be.
Yeah, and it's interesting. It's interesting what you said earlier about the permitting system and your ability to access it. So right now, for me, somebody that knows how to navigate the system, if you ask me to look up your roof and your permit, I can locate that pretty quickly. What I cannot locate is specific details about how your roof was built and what was submitted as to how your roof was built. And it's actually very interesting, like a lot of people talk about like cutting corners in other places in the country. Tennessee, my friends in Tennessee, my friends in other areas, they basically say they're installing a roof. They pull a permit that they installed the roof, and there's not really inspections. It actually varies in different areas. But here in Miami, we have to submit and say, hey, we are using this product from this manufacturer for this purpose on this roof. And if we go to pick up that material, it's not available, we want to use an alternative manufacturer, the inspector will see that and fail us. So we would actually have to install that material, submit for a revision, get that revision approved. So hopefully we didn't install on the roof. So we actually wouldn't do in that order, but let's just say we installed it or another roofer installed it. They would have to submit for a revision. Then the inspector would have to come back out, see that material, see what's listed on the paper as an approved product for that one area of the roof, approve that, and then we can proceed. So it's super strict. But the problem is, if I wanted to look up how your roof was built, I would actually have to pull microfilm and communicate with the building department in order to get what was actually submitted. So that's not an easy process. It's not easy to navigate. I would assume the insurance companies in the future, like I install a great system on a roof right now, the GAF system with the wind-proven warranty, all the products that come along with that, versus another roofing company installs a inferior system and it's just like, hey, here's the cheapest quality that passes code. The insurance companies wouldn't necessarily be able to tell the difference between the two. Without doing like very deep research and at scale. How do they do that for 100,000 houses? It just doesn't make sense. So there currently that I know of, there's no solution for that. And there's no like easy record of that deal.
And
So
all the underwriter
wonder
wants to do is see a final.
Well, and you know what's interesting that I talked to my buddy who's a house flipper, home flipper, is that you can pull a permit for a shingle roof and you can have a section of the roof that's a flat roof, and all you're going to see online is permit asphalt shingles. So sometimes somebody will have a new shingle roof, but they might have an older roof, and then the person looking says, or the realtor says, oh, they got a roof done in 2015, but it's like, no, that section was done in 2015. So
yes, and I've come across that.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely, I have, and I'm talking about Miami-Dade.
Right.
And I have seen where the description, it has included the roll.
Okay.
Flat portion. Sometimes it usually doesn't. And that's a really good point, because on the wind mitigation inspection, if there's two types of roof, usually there's like roof part number 1, which is gable, tile, or shingle. And then roof type number 2 is rolled flat. Right? And you're right, because this one will have a permit and this one won't. I could only say that the roofer would hopefully give you the breakdown of what they've done to that roof. Did they take pictures while they were there? It could help, but it's like generally if you can't prove it, you don't get that credit.
Right. Yeah.
But an underwriter might take it, might take it into consideration that, okay, they couldn't, this wasn't done, but it was done here. So, but that has less
at the same time.
Yeah, but that flat roof has less of a life than your shingle roof.
Okay.
Roll. Going back real quick to carriers, you have some carriers that will not even do a mixed roof.
Mixed roof, really?
They would not allow any flat over an AC.
Really? Interesting.
They're their tolerance, their reinsurance costs, or whatever they have done for their bottom line. It just doesn't. It's not a good indicator for them of making, because everybody has to make profit.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually going back to lifespan and when people start to get those letters about, you have 120 days to replace your roof or you're getting dropped.
Right.
How does, what kind of timeline are you seeing for tile roofs? And then what kind of timeline are you seeing for metal roofs? Because tile roofs, we typically say, 30 years, they should be lasting at least that, or at least that was the thing in the past.
Right.
And then for metal roofs, now they're being advertised as 40-year, 50-year life. So how does the insurance company look at those two different roofs? It's
all about what's called the 4-point.
Okay,
which looks at your air conditioning, your heater, air conditioning, water, plumbing, water, electricity, and the roof. The roof either has met its end of life. You cannot get an inspection of 4-point that gives it any life yet. It's done. It's toast. You need to replace it.
Got it.
But generally, you can get, if you have 5 years remaining on a roof that's past the underwriting guidelines and they accept that, and you get another 4-point for that, then generally they'll move it forward, unless it's a hard stop. And if it's a hard stop, either you're going to take care of it or you're not.
Okay.
And I have had clients like ones, that have gone like, no, I'm going to get a new roof. Or I have some that just dilly-dally and it never gets done and they get canceled. There's nowhere I could put them, because if it's met the end of their life and there's nothing I can do, then there's nothing I can do. I hope you don't have a mortgage on it.
Right.
Because if you don't have a mortgage on it, you don't have insurance, you're going to get force placed.
Right. And then pay a lot more
and
for
pay a lot
insurance.
more for much less coverage.
Got it.
It's only going to cover the loan. It's not going to give you personal liability. It's not going to give you contents. It doesn't happen a lot, thank goodness, for me.
Okay.
I did have one client that fought it for many years. And I told her, I said, pay now, pay later.
Right.
If you have the money, get it done. They took their time, but now she's like, I want to get it done. My renewal's coming up. I want to get it done.
Right.
Because she just knew they were going to call her out sooner or later. But she's a homeowner that cares, that insurance is important to her. If insurance is important to protect your asset to you, you'll do what you need to do.